Hey, what's up guys, it's AndreOth here, bringing you guys another video. And in this video I'm going to be telling you guys what DAW I think is the best for a new producer. Let's get into it. So first off, I had to look at all the different DAWs. Now guys, obviously there are tons of different DAWs out there. There's tons of DAWs out there, but I had to narrow down the DAWs to the most popular DAWs in my opinion. Now in my opinion, the most popular DAWs, the DAWs that I see most people using are FL Studio, Logic, Ableton and BRYSON. And there's another DAW that I'm going to put in there called Studio One. Now that's not as popular as the rest of the DAWs, but I feel like this should be on the list for a reason that I'm going to let you guys know later on in the video. Now I know there's other DAWs like Cubase and stuff like that that people do use, but I don't really feel like that's as popular, especially within the YouTube community. And there's other things like Pro Tools, but Pro Tools isn't really DAW like Logic or FL Studio. I don't really think much people actually make beats with Pro Tools. I think they kind of just mix and master with Pro Tools. So guys, to decide what DAW I thought would be the best for a new producer, I had to look at three different things. So the first thing that I had to look at was the price. So I had to look at the price of these different DAWs and decide which DAW was the cheapest or which DAW was the most cost efficient and the most worth the money. So in terms of price, obviously things got a little bit tricky because every DAW has like different versions. So they have pro versions and, you know, demo versions, beginner versions, elite versions. Every DAW has their own different editions and their own different versions. But what I tried to look for was the full version of every DAW. So not the beginner, the full version. So I did my research and I looked at the prices of the full version of all of these DAWs, and I'm going to read them out to you now. Now for the newest version of Ableton, the full version is going to cost you £319. For the newest version of BRYSON, the full version is going to cost you £299. For the newest version of FL Studio, it's going to cost you around £150. And for the newest version of Logic, it's going to cost you £200. Now there's another DAW that I spoke to you guys about called Studio One, and the reason why I put it on this list is because I think it's the most cost efficient, because Splice have a deal with Studio One, a rent to own deal, so you can get Studio One for $16.99 a month. Now in terms of price, I think Studio One wins because they have the most cost efficient product. Obviously they have the rent to own deal, so if you're a new producer, you're a kid, you don't really have $200 or $300 to spend, I think Studio One would be the most cost efficient because you can spread that cost over the span of 24 months. But I think in second, I'd give it to FL Studio because you can get the full version for around £150, and I think third, I'll probably give it to Logic because you can get the full version for about £200. So I guess you can say Studio One wins the price round. So the next thing I looked at, the next bit of criteria that I looked at was ease of use. So which DAW is the easiest to use? Now I haven't used every single DAW. I use Logic on a regular basis, I've used FL Studio, and I've used Ableton for a little bit. And in my opinion, I think those three DAWs are the easiest to use. But in terms of ease of use, I think FL Studio might be the easiest DAW to use for a new producer. I think the user interface is very easy to navigate through, and I think it's very easy to find everything. So I think FL Studio, in my opinion, it's the easiest DAW to use. It's the easiest DAW to use because I think it's the most user-friendly, and I think in terms of its interface, it's the least complicated. So in terms of ease of use, in terms of user-friendliness, I'd give this round to FL Studio because I think it's probably the easiest to use and the easiest to navigate through. Now obviously guys, that's just my opinion. You guys might have your own opinions. You can let me know in the comments down below, but I do think FL Studio is probably the easiest to use. Now the last piece of criteria that I looked at, the last thing that I looked at was tutorials and tutorial videos, and which DAW has the highest amount of tutorial videos and courses available on the internet. Now this is very important, especially for new producers that want to get used to their DAW as soon as possible, because you're going to be living on YouTube pretty much, and you're going to be searching through tutorials pretty much every day when you just start producing. So I think it's very important for you to use a DAW that's very popular, especially within the YouTube community, because those DAWs have the most tutorials and courses and stuff like that online and on YouTube that's going to help you get better at using that DAW. Now in my opinion, I think the DAW that has the most tutorials, the most courses and stuff like that on YouTube, on the internet in general, is FL Studio. I think FL Studio is the most popular DAW, especially amongst YouTube producers, and just online in general. You always see people using FL Studio, and what that means is there are going to be tons of tutorials and courses online that's going to help you get better at using FL Studio. If you use a DAW that's more obscure, that people haven't really heard of, it's going to be hard for you to find these tutorials online and these courses that's going to teach you how to use that DAW, because that DAW just isn't popular. So in my opinion, FL Studio is the most popular DAW, which means they have the most courses and tutorial videos, which means that you can learn how to do everything that you want to do in FL Studio quicker than you would on any other DAW. And this is important because I've seen so many different courses and tutorial videos, and sometimes I click those videos because I use Logic. Sometimes I click those videos and most of the time the person is using FL Studio, so I can't even watch the video because they're not using the same DAW as me. Now if you're a new producer, you don't want to experience that. You just want to use the popular DAW so you won't miss out on any of these courses or any of these tutorial videos online. So I feel like in terms of tutorial videos, I think FL Studio wins this round. And this is a very important thing, especially if you're a new producer. And the last little bonus round that I have is availability. And what I mean by this is that DAW available on PC and Mac? Now I believe most of the DAWs that I mentioned, being Ableton, Reason, Studio One, and FL Studio, are now available on Mac. FL Studio I think only recently became available on Mac within the last year or two. But the only DAW that isn't available on both platforms is Logic. So I feel like Logic kind of loses this round because you're limited to Mac computers, and most new producers aren't probably spending, you know, money on Mac computers. Most of them are probably buying PC computers. So if you're a new producer, I'd probably recommend using any of the other 4 DAWs apart from Logic, because that's going to force you to get a Mac, which is going to force you to spend more money. And if you're a new producer, you probably don't really have that much money, you're probably young, you're probably going to want to get a PC computer, so I probably wouldn't recommend Logic. So now to my final verdict. Which DAW do I recommend, do I think is the best for any new producer? And the answer to that question is FL Studio. I think FL Studio is really cost efficient. I think you spend about £150 to get the full version. I think it's very easy to use. The interface is very easy to use. It's not that hard to kind of maneuver around the interface. It's available both on PC and Mac, so if you want to use PC, you can get on that too. If you want to use Mac, you can get on that too. And it's so popular, so there's so many tutorials on YouTube and courses and stuff like that that's going to teach you how to use FL Studio. So you're going to learn how to use that DAW really quickly because there's so many beat making tutorials, beat making videos and courses online that's going to help you get better at using FL Studio. Now this isn't a biased video at all, guys, because I don't even use FL Studio. I used FL Studio like 4 or 5 years ago. The DAW that I use is Logic, so this isn't a biased video at all. And I would actually recommend Logic. I think Logic is actually my favorite DAW, but I'm just talking about what DAW should you use if you're a new producer, and that's FL Studio. Now if you have a Mac computer, I'd recommend using Logic. But yeah guys, that's just my opinion on the matter. Maybe you disagree with me and maybe you think FL Studio isn't the best for new producers. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about my opinions. I know you guys are going to do it anyway. But at the end of the day guys, you can choose whatever DAW you want. So it can be Reason, you know, Cubase, Ableton, whatever you want to use. They're all good. They're all good DAWs, and I wouldn't tell you to get any one of these DAWs because they're all very, very good DAWs. So yeah guys, that's pretty much it for the video. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did like the video though, please hit the like button down below and subscribe for more, because I have way more videos like this coming out every single week. And if you guys want to purchase any beats from me, you guys can go to AndreOth.beatstars.com. And if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Instagram for all the latest updates. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.